In the Heights is the exact movie we needed this summer because it's not just going to make you get up and dance, it's not going to just make you smile and want to sing, but it's going to make you want to follow your heart and all your passions to such a high light. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're going to be discussing In the Heights, which centers on a variety of characters living in the neighborhood of Washington Heights. On the northern tip of Manhattan, at the center of the show is Usnavi, a bodega owner who looks after the aging Cuban lady next door and pines for the gorgeous girl working the neighborhood beauty salon and dreams of winning the lottery and escaping to the shores of his native Dominican Republic. There's so many different characters in here, so many different people to explore, and there's so much to discuss because In the Heights is one of the best films of 2021 so far, and it has absolutely just gleamed me with tons of smiles, tons of passion, and tons of love, and I'm so excited to be here discussing this film with all of you guys, and I'm sure many of you guys are also excited about this movie as well. So make sure to comment down below and let me know your guys' thoughts. How excited are you for this film? Have you listened to the Broadway musical? Have you seen it before? What's your favorite song? Let's discuss it all down there, as well as make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep talking movies over here on a daily basis. The Heights is arguably probably one of the most anticipated musicals of this year. This is actually a huge year for musicals. There's TikTok Boom, Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut, and of course, even West Side Story. But out of all of them, this was probably my most anticipated. The trailer got me hyped. I'd never listened to a Broadway musical or any of the songs from this film at all before I'd even gone in to see it. I just saw the trailer and I loved it. I love what John M. Chu did with Crazy Rich Asians. I love how he brought that culture to life and how he brought it and really much emphasized it and made me feel like a part of that family. It's the exact same thing here within the Heights, bringing me in to a culture that I'm not really, I didn't grow up in that type of culture, but brings me in and makes me feel like a part of the family, makes me feel like a part of Washington Heights, and it sweeps me off my feet in such a spectacular way that, again, ends up making this film one of my favorites of the year. Over the last couple of years, I very much have come to love musicals in such a spectacular way. That's not how it was when I started reviewing movies, or in general over the last course of my life, but I've really come to a sweet spot in them, and when they are done right, they are some of my favorite experiences to watch on the big screen, and that's what In the Heights is. I know you can see this on HBO Max first day, but I cannot emphasize enough to see this in theaters. This is a movie that needs to be seen in theaters, and it's hard to control yourself when you're in a theater because you want to get up and dance. You want to grab your loved one and bring them in and dance with them and go all out about. And it's so much fun to see everything going about here. But there's deeper layers to this movie than you would honestly expect. And for me, the biggest thing that I truly loved was how each and every character has something personal going on in their life and how it can truly affect them. And I think showing about in this just little corner of this universe, in this corner of this street, Washington Heights itself, and seeing how important and close-knitted this whole entire street is, it's quite amazing to just see how they were able to bring that about and, again, make you care about almost every single storyline happening in here and the way that they're all coming to intersect with one another. It just goes, again, a musical works for three different reasons. The first one being the music. Every single song in here is memorable. It has some great talented moments to it, and overall the dancing is all spectacular. There's a couple in particular that end up becoming my favorite that if you haven't seen the trailer yet or you haven't seen most of the material yet, I'm going to kind of stay away from spoiling, but there are some in here that I was just sitting there like, this is freaking spectacular, and again brings you into such a highlight. Now, the second thing that brings a musical to life are the performances nonetheless, and of course starting with Anthony Ramos, who I think he is a star after this. I cannot wait to see what he does next, because he didn't just destroy it in this film, he became a star-studded upcoming person that I can't wait to see in more films. I've already listened to some of his music beforehand, and I was a fan of him on there, but he won my heart over here in so many different ways. Navi is a very relatable character, and the way that Ramos portrays him just feels like he sinks right into the role. But it's not just him. Stephanie Beatrice, who plays Carla, is also fantastic in here. Annie Smits is great. Corey Hawkins, God, I love this guy. I need to see him in more things. And even, of course, Leslie Grace as Nina. It just brings it so well together. There is one sole performance in here that I think absolutely was probably the the sweetest thing in here, and that is Olga Merendez, who plays Abuela Claudia, who for me has one of the most memorable sequences in the entire film that won't just move you to tears, it'll bring you to damn tears and have you drop on the ground and just want to hug your nearest relative that you absolutely love to death. She has such an amazing performance, and honestly, I just loved her to death in here. I know there's been some talk, like, if you look at Les Mis and how Anne Hathaway was nominated for that movie and won, there's no reason that Olga should not be nominated and potentially win down the road, depending on how the rest of the season goes. That's kind of what I'd say, is that a lot of those slower moments and slower songs, those were my favorite parts of the film, when it really got deeper inside the characters, their relationships, and everything going about. And don't get me wrong, I loved all the big bombastic dance sequences in the songs, because those were all hyped and fun, but the slower ones, when it really focused in on only a couple characters at a time, were truly my favorites. It's also a really funny movie as well. It has that heart and humor to it that really weaves it all through, and it just makes it feel, again, relatable. John M. Chu infuses that passion and brings you into this world, and again, brings you into a culture that maybe you did not grow up in. And if you're someone that did grow up in a culture like this, then you're able to say, hey, I feel seen. And that's just freaking awesome. Technically, again, Into the Heights is near perfect. The cinematography, the production design, the characters, everything around this just brings it to life. And again, moments that you will be sitting there just sitting in awe of. Like I said, Into the Heights is one of my favorite films of this year. And I do have slight issues with it. I think, again, I kind of mentioned one earlier in here where I said, you know, a little bit of the story probably could have been cut down just a bit to help with the pacing. It is almost 2.5 hours, and it does feel a bit too long for that. I don't know exactly which moments I would have cut out, but I think there were maybe one or two that I could actually think of, okay, you could have toned that down just a bit. And one of the last things is, while I said I loved most of the dancing and I loved most of the singing moments, a couple dance sequences that I feel like could have been a bit edited a little bit better overall, because as much as I loved everything going on, sometimes I got a little bit too distracted and it felt a little bit too big to where I love the more slower moments more. And that's just a personal preference. You might disagree and think it's flip-flopped, but that's what's so great about musicals, because it's always different for every single person. In general, just film. Heights soars high, sweeps you off your feet, and swells your eyes with tears. It's filled with excitement, smiles, laughs, and will make you an emotional mess by the end. This is a sensational celebration that will make you walk out singing and dancing to the beat of your heart, and definitely wanting to follow your passions, because that is what each and every character in here is truly doing. I loved In the Heights. This is one of the best films of this year, and I really hope you guys get to see this in theaters, because you will absolutely fall in love with it as well. If you're a fan of musicals or you're a fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda, this is right up your alley. Trust me when I say this, I'm growing more fond of musicals, but Into the Heights is one of my favorites of the past recent years, and I cannot wait to see this movie again. So with all that said, I'm going to give In the Heights an A. Thank you once again, guys, for clicking on this video. Make sure to leave a comment what your thoughts on the film were and what your favorite moment or song was. And make sure to also head on over to Samchon Films on how to see films early. And of course, it's a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I would not be able to do any of this. And it's all thanks to you guys. So of course, until next time, stay classy.